All right, we're going to get started. It is 8 o'clock, so we'll jump in and get started. And if more people join us, then awesome. They'll just jump in where we're at. I'm going to record this session, so it will be shared later. There's only a few of us on, which is perfectly fine. It's going to be a very collaborative, hands-on session, and a smaller number allows us to dive in and work together. But my name is Becky Calling. I'm an instructional coach in Santa Clarita, in the Santa Clarita Valley in California. You can follow me on Twitter at TechWithBecky. I only follow other teachers, so if your account doesn't say you're a teacher, I won't follow back, but if it does, I will follow back, or an educator of any sort. Thank you so much for joining today. We're going to be diving into cultivating collaboration in a digital world, and before we do that, I want to get to know you. So what we're going to do to get started is we're going to do an activity called Partner Introductions. And we're going to open up, and I'll share this link with you as well. We're going to open up this slide, and you will have 1 minute to go to, there's only a few, so just take up slides 3 and 4 when we get to it, but you're going to open up your slide. You need to each be on your own, and just fill in these 4 quick questions. So type in your name, and you can do first and last, totally up to you. If you have a Twitter handle, add that. And then your grade or position that you teach or have taught, any of that. And then 3 fun facts about yourself. It can be your favorite color, it can be what you like to do, whatever it is, but you only have 1 minute to do that. After the 1 minute is up, you will find your partner slide. And so each slide has a number. This one's group 1 and group 2. So if you each take one of these, you'll switch off and you'll have 3 minutes to read over your partner's information and decorate a slide for them. So you're kind of creating their About Me poster based off the information that your partner is providing. So let me share this link with each of you. Let's see if it will, oops. Give me 1 second. Here you go, and let me know if you didn't get it, but otherwise, open up the partner introductions, go to slide 3 or 4, and you can start filling in your information. And I meant to set a timer. Let me do that now. I'm going to fill mine out while you're doing yours. You're at about 20 seconds. All right, so that's our time. I'm gonna double check to see where we're at. I see we're finishing up our 3 facts, awesome. And now you're going to, so finish up your fact and then switch, go to your partner slide, the person with the same number. And you know what, it looks like we might have skipped one, so go slides 4 and 5. Go to your partner and you have 3 minutes to read over their information and decorate. And if you're curious what that looks like, you can come in and add a background. You can insert some images from Google. You can insert images from your computer. Have fun with it, but make it so that it's about your partner. So my 3 facts are that I love traveling, my favorite color is pink, and I've lived in 4 states. When my partner comes in, they should be looking for images and things that have to do with what I like and things about me. They can also change the font, change the color, do all of that. Their job is to read about me and create a poster that they believe would represent me. So I'll give you 3 minutes to go onto your partner slide, and I'm seeing If you were on slide 4, if you put your information on slide 4, go to slide 5. And if you were on 5, go to slide 4. And you can always come off mute if you have a question. And the timer is on. We got about 2 minutes left. Oh, this is great. Hey, Stacy, welcome. We are just doing a partner introduction activity. The link is in the chat. And so you're welcome to join in. We have only a few minutes left to decorate the slide, but if you want to go in and read my information and decorate my slide, I'm on slide 2. You're welcome to. Hello, is it Noriko? You can't see the link. Okay, and you know what? We're almost done with this activity, so please stay on. I'm not saying go off. You are welcome to just watch this part, and then we will get going with the next. But I did add the link so you can come in here and play with it while we finish up. For those of you decorating slides, I'm loving what I'm seeing. You have about 30 seconds. And so for those of you who just joined us, what we did was we had 1 minute to fill out the slide with our name. So we had to put in our name, our Twitter handle, grade, any information, and then 3 fun facts about ourselves. We only had 1 minute to do that. And then we had to rotate, and we had to go to our partner slide, read their information, and create a slide for them based off of what they gave us. So we couldn't just add in random things that needed to be about our partner. All right, that is time. So now what I would have my students do, and this would usually be a beginning of the year activity, and typically something I'm gonna do when I'm introducing slides to my students, so that way they get used to all the features. You really can't mess it up. So now what I would do is I would have my students go back to their original slide that they created, see what their partner came up with for them, and then they would come in here and anything that they wanted to add a comment to, so let's say they added a picture or they added font, you can highlight it and add in a personal comment. Or you could say, you know what, maybe that's, that I didn't word that correctly. I didn't actually mean that. So add those comments. And then if my students were in class or face-to-face, they would be able to have those conversations. But so you can go back to your original one and add any comments, and then I would have my students share out. You are welcome to come off of mute. And we got a little mix up with the groups, which is totally fine. Come off of mute. If you would like, Suzanne, and kind of share out this process for you, or you can type it in chat if you don't want to come off mute.
I thought this was a great activity. I can see the kids really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because we're going beyond just create your own poster and share your own poster out. And then we have Stacy. Anything you want to add? And I love this. I want to live here, your comments.
I thought it was great. Do you usually, what's the time limit you usually give them, the same or longer?
That's a good question. I am a stickler when it comes to time. So when I was teaching 5th grade, if I said 3 minutes, when 3 minutes were up, we were done. Especially for something like this, I could have given you 45 minutes and you would still be working. Like there are some students, it doesn't matter how long you give. So I am a stickler with time and I stick with the 1 minute, 3 minutes, 1 minute, and then we move on. Because I want them to get used to the tools. Now, if this is the first time they've ever used slides, I would give them a little bit longer, but I don't go over unless I'm seeing a lot of stress, but I'm typically 3 to 5 minutes and then we move on. Great question. All right, we're gonna come back to the original deck. And if you didn't get that initial one, I will share this entire thing with you. So if you weren't able to join in that first activity, the instructions are on slide 1 and you'll get the whole deck to play with later. All right. So our learning targets for today is just to define what digital collaboration is, understand the purpose of collaboration, and then monitor student collaboration. What does that look like, whether we're in the classroom or we go back digitally this next year? And when I think of digital collaboration, I've actually been in, not sessions today, but like over the summer, I've been going to a lot of different PD, a lot of different programs that are putting things on, and they keep talking about how collaborative the activity is. But in reality, it's engaging. And unless our students are collaborating with one another, they're not collaborating. We want them to collaborate with their device, but we need them collaborating with one another. So we are going to go into the next activity, which I'm going to actually have you define collaboration. And I see we've got 8 of us on here. So we're going to stick with the first 1 to 2. If you've never heard of the Frayer model, we're basically following a backwards Frayer model. The Frayer model, all it is, you have the vocabulary word in the middle. Today's vocabulary word that we're going to define is collaboration. And then typically you start with having your students define what is collaboration. That's really hard if the student hasn't been exposed to the vocabulary word. So I actually switch it up. And in this case, our vocabulary word is collaboration. And what you're going to do, ignore the last names. We're just going to go with the first 2. You're going to come in here and think of examples of collaboration. You already know what this is. You've all been exposed to collaboration. We're in education. So come up with an example or 2. If someone's already writing next to the number 1, go to the number 2. And then come up with non-examples of collaboration. That part's really important because for us to truly define, to be able to define a vocabulary word, we have to know what it is and what it's not. And then after you've come up with your example, your non-example, come down here into images and search for an image. Insert and find an image from the web or from wherever of vocabulary or of collaboration, and then come up with your own definition. That activity in and of itself, even though you're all working on the same doc, is not collaborative. That is engaging, you could say, but it's the step we do after that that becomes collaborative. What you're going to do after you finish all of these is you're going to go through and read your partners or read everybody else who's writing in here, and you're going to start highlighting, and you're going to give comments, and you're going to say, oh, I didn't think about that, or is this really an example, or is this a non-example? Ask these type of questions in the comments. I push my students to go beyond just saying, great idea. To me, that's not collaborative to tell someone great idea. Because most ideas that people come up with, they are great in the moment, but we want to push people further. So I'm going to share this with each of you. And we will go into that doc. Let's see where we're at. We're at 9 people. So let's just stick with this first one. You don't need to go into the other one. I wasn't sure how many people we had, so I broke this up by last name. Come in here, take a number. If we run out of numbers, keep adding more. I'll do that now. And start filling in your examples, non-examples, and images and definition. In the end, I only want 1 definition. I don't want 9 different definitions. And Stacy, oh, I'm actually really glad you did that. You added your name. You don't need to add your name at all. I don't want a name in there because that means you own it and no one else can have ownership of that thought. So I want it to just be open. Put in your examples, non-examples. Awesome. And we're all working in this first square. And you know, this is actually kind of fun. Typically when I do this with my students, because they're signed into their account through our domain, I can actually see who is writing what. I kind of like this, that it's anonymous. It takes a lot of the pressure off of, did I spell this right? Is somebody gonna judge me for this? Like the fact that Anonymous Jackal is writing this, I don't know who that is. So that's kind of cool too. Wonder if there's a way to make it so that happens when I do this with students. So once you finished your example, go on to non-example. Once you finish that, go to your image and then start coming up with the definition. Like this, I'm seeing some examples: partnership to complete a task with frequent feedback, actively listening to your partner group to achieve a common goal, students working together on a VEX robot to get ready for a competition. And then some of our non-examples: chunking out the task without discussion or interaction, one person doing the work while a partner group sits by and watches. We all know that happens. We have students working in isolation on a book report. Definitely. Okay, whoever found this little Lego set, that is adorable. Whenever I look up images of collaboration, they're always like the 3 people holding hands and the puzzle pieces. So I like seeing your creativity. Oh, cute. This must be the VEX robotics competition. Let's take about 2 more minutes. So if you filled in the first 3, you can start coming up with the definition, or you can go back and start highlighting and commenting on others' examples and images. It's hard because when we're in a digital setting like this, or a virtual setting, even if it's in the classroom, we want our students to talk, but there's also moments where it's just not possible. In a Zoom this size, I would typically say you can come off mute and chat with each other, and you are welcome to do that now. But if I'm working with a reading group and I need my students working silently, I can have them doing this silently, but still collaborating by using that comment feature. Nice. And it's okay if our images go a little wonky. Yeah, great question. You are only showing examples of collaboration. I don't want images of non-collaboration. So in this last box, you're just giving a definition to what is collaboration. We're only going to take about 1 more minute. I'm going to challenge you. If you've come up with the first 3 boxes and you're not ready to be the one to start typing in the definition, I'm going to challenge you to go back and comment on at least one person's example, non-example, or image, and just do that by highlighting a piece or the whole thing and coming over here and clicking this add a comment feature, because that opens up that opportunity for collaboration. So for example, this person wrote partnership. I agree. I'm just adding, I like the partnership, because often we think of collaboration as groups of 4 or more. Yes, it does happen so often in the older grades that we're asking students to work in isolation, or we're giving them a really fun, engaging something, but it's just them by themselves. And in the real world, it's not where we're going. I am going to cut us short on this one. So finish up your last comment, finish up all of that, or your last comment. What I would do next with my students is go through and we would come up with that definition. I would challenge them to start writing it and then we would add to it. Today, due to time, 45 minutes, I'm gonna say this is where you would take it next and where I would open up that door, and maybe they're doing the first 3 boxes, you know, independently, and then they're commenting, adding in that collaboration, and then I would bring them together, whichever group it was. I'd stick with about 4 students. I would bring those students together and we would come up with that definition. And typically when I do this, we rewrite our definition 4 to 5 times and we're crossing out and saying, actually, no. And we pull things from the example column. All right, if you're on a different screen, come back over to us because we're gonna keep going. Let me come up to my present button. All right, one thing I didn't mention on here, and the reason I stuck with our vocabulary word being collaboration and not digital collaboration is because I don't want you to throw out everything you know about collaboration. We've been focused on collaboration in education for a long time. It just, for some reason, we brought technology in and we kind of thought, oh, well, the technology is doing it for us. When in reality, there are a lot of digital tools that are not inherently collaborative. They can become collaborative if we set it up that way in our lesson. For example, Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. Like, if I could use it every single day, I would. When I'm doing trainings, when I'm working with teachers, I would definitely use it all the time. But if all I do with Flipgrid is give my students questions and have them create videos, are they collaborating? Absolutely not. They're creating fun videos, they're engaged, but I have to take that extra step and put that procedure in place to say, now you need to go back and comment on X, Y, and Z. Or now you need to look at so-and-so's video and add to it. You need to add that second piece. Same with everything within the G Suite for Education. It's meant to become collaborative if you use it that way. But I can open up a doc and write a paper all by myself. No one ever sees it. No one ever does anything with it. So we as educators have to find ways to make these tools collaborative for our students. Yeah, I love Flipgrid. It is one of my favorites. So the next thing we're going to do is focus on the purpose of digital collaboration. And of course, I'm not just going to sit here and tell you what that is because I don't find that collaborative and engaging. So instead, we're going to open up I came up with this term, if it's probably been used a million times, but a jamboration. And we're going to look at preparing students for jobs that don't exist. So again, I'll share this link with you, but I'm going to ask that you don't go ahead. I'd like you to open up this link, and I should do the same, and go to this first frame. If you've never used Jamboard before, I'll walk you through it, but all I want you to do is look at this first frame right here. All of these are frames within a jam. So this is a jam and this is a frame we're looking at. And the first thing I want you to do is look at this image right here and give it a hashtag. If you've never used hashtags before, it's just kind of like a caption or a title to something. So look at this. I'm not going to tell you any more about it, but look at the image and come up with a hashtag. Once you have your hashtag, come over here to the sticky note and type out your hashtag. So I don't want to give you any, but it could be hashtag, let's say we were looking at a picture of a tiger, it could be hashtag striped animal. And that's it. And then hit save and move your sticky note wherever you want. Take just a second to do that. I see a few of us in here. I'm going to wait until we've got a few more. If you're already in here, come up with your hashtag. I do this with students. With younger students, I don't do hashtag. I just tell them to caption the image without giving any other context. In the older grades, we do use hashtag because 5th grade loves to think that, you know, they're on social media. So for example, like my 5th graders, when we're talking about Trash Island, before I even dive into what Trash Island is, why it happened, all of that, I actually show them an image and have them hashtag Trash Island. I didn't think of that one. Hashtag overthinking everything. I'll tell you, this was a hard one to find an image for. Yeah, the sticky notes all land on top of each other. So you might have to move them around. You can't choose that. Hashtag out of sight. Oh, hashtag wonderful time. I'm gonna move this one over just a little bit. I love this. So yeah, when I'm working with a group of 20 students, we're gonna have 20 hashtags around here. Dreaming of babies. I love that. So the next thing, and let me, before I go to the next frame, once you finish your hashtags, ooh, genetics, I like these. Sweet memories. These are awesome. And you can see like students really get into this. They come up with a million different things. I didn't have to tell you anything about it yet. We've got genetics. We've got, you know, we know where it's going to be something about babies. You can't choose that. Sweet memories, overthinking. And it gets you thinking about, okay, why am I doing this? What does this have to do with collaboration? So what I want you to do is go to the next frame by clicking the right arrow next to the two little rectangles that says 1 out of 6, clicking that right arrow. And on the next frame, this one is strictly a direction. So I don't need you to engage with this site or this frame at all, other than to let you know we're gonna read a quick article called Preparing Students for Jobs That Don't Exist. Again, we're focused on why are we encouraging digital collaboration in the classroom. So I'm gonna put the article in the chat. If you would take a few minutes to open up that article, read it. There's a video in there so you can save this article. You can even do a quick skim of it and then go through the next 4 frames. So you'll just click the next arrow and you're going to write about what squared away with you, just one thing. And you can do it on a sticky note or write it. You can also go to the frame 4 is what are 3 main points? And this is definitely something I do with my students. If you've never done the circle, square, rectangle, or circle, square, triangle activity, that's what this is. And then what is still circling in your head. And then that last frame gives you directions to go back to the other 3. But I'll give you a few minutes to just kind of skim that article. I did put it in the chat. And then go to frame 3. You may not finish this article, so take about 1 more minute to read. That will be, there's enough in that first paragraph. You could do the circle, square, triangle activity, but 1 more minute and then come back to our Jamboard. All right, if you've not already done so, finish up the sentence or paragraph and come on back to frame, and I see a lot of us are already on frame 3. And once you finish frame 3, just keep going. I've set them up so that they lead you to the next one. And this is also nice for our students who are quick readers, who finish quickly. I like to have things so that they can keep going, while our students who need more time don't feel a rush. And so you go at your pace for this activity, because collaboration does come into place on frame 6. I have had to, I've had teachers ask me, what are you asking when you're saying what squared away with you? It's really just what stuck with you. What is like, yep, I'm on it. Like, that is a big takeaway. I'm squared away, feel good about that. Oh, I like this. Yes. And when you have time, finish reading that article and watch the video. It's great. I definitely recommend it. Thinking and gaining skills for future tech and tools. Yes. And this is why I love Jamboard. I love that we're able to draw a heart next to this. We could draw stars. We can add our circles. Oh no, it didn't open. Oh, you know why? It's because it has a period. Let me put it in again. There we go. Okay. And what is still circling? So kind of what's going around in your mind right now where you're like, wow, okay, I need to think on this. I need to process this. I need to do something with it. This one gets me. The nearly half of what students learn in their first year of technical school is outdated by the time they graduate. What a world we're setting students up for. Like, it's pretty cool though, if you think about it, how many opportunities are going to be available for them, but just as educators, how do we navigate that? And I see some of you have already done it, but once you've gone through all 3, go back, highlight. I love that you're adding hearts and writing yes, please do. Add to it, make this collaborative. If you read something and you're like, oh, I actually don't agree with that. I prefer that. I don't think we should all have the same minds and think the same way. So put it in there in a polite way. And I talk with my students about that too. You know, there's a polite way to critique somebody and there's a not so polite way. So we focus on the polite ways. And if you are writing on your computer, I give you props, because when I try to, it is a mess. So way to go, those of you who are able to write with either a mouse or with your touchpad. All right. We are going to come back together. I know we're rushing through these. Again, my students would have more time. I would never tell them read one paragraph. Well, maybe I would. There are times I tell them you don't need to read the whole article. And I would give a lot more time. If you're still working on the Jamboard, I'm not going to take that away from you. Keep working, have fun with it. But I am going to come back here. We do have a few more slides I want to get through, but that is our last interactive activity. So a few things to keep in mind when focusing on digital collaboration. One is that collaborative output should never look the same for each group or pair. And what I mean by that is if I'm having 4 different groups in my class or 6 different groups and they're all collaborating on a project, if they all turn it in, whether it's a Jamboard, a doc, a slide, and every single one looks the same, the title's in the same place, everything's the same or similar, that means that me as an educator, that was my activity. I was all my creativity, and somehow I gave them way too much guidance because I didn't let them show their creativity and collaborate and make it their own. So keep that in mind. It's something I always look for with my students. I came from a project-based learning STEAM school, and anytime things were turned in and looked similar, I questioned, where did I overguide? Where did I overteach? Who was doing most of the learning here? Was it me or my students? Collaboration also opens up the opportunity for students to make mistakes. If my students never learn how to fail, they don't know how to fail forward. So we need to open up opportunities for students to make mistakes and respect those mistakes and expect them. They're going to happen. We need to respect them and grow from them. And it is stressful for some students. So it's a process. It's fun, especially when they're learning technology at the same time as trying to collaborate. Student groups and pairs should change regularly. It's hard in a digital setting to say we're constantly switching it up, but we need to. We need to give students the opportunity to work with others. We need to not be so set in you are my red group, you are my blue group, you are my green group, and to make my life easy, you're always working together. My students were working with new people almost daily. Like they never got too comfortable. They also never had the same seats regularly. My class was, we call it controlled chaos, but maybe it was more chaos at times, and I liked that. Collaboration should also elicit student engagement and curiosity. That's going back to that first bullet point. If students aren't engaged and curious in it, curious about the project or whatever it is they're working on, the topic, you'll know right away. If you're finding that I can't share this Jamboard with my students because they're too focused on writing things or looking up things they shouldn't be, they're not engaged. What can I change to make it work for them? Now you might have that one-off student, yes, but if this is a consistent problem, we need to look at what the activity is and how we can make it more engaging, because there's not a need for students to be on a computer working with one another, creating slides, doing all of that and thinking, I'm not too into this, so I'm just gonna mess it all up. I was never afraid of sharing slides with students and having them work together. And then collaboration should also, to have it be structured so you don't run into those issues, you also need to have norms. Have those norms in place. This is not an opportunity to say, we'll learn the norms as we go. I put them in place from day one. We practice those norms. One of our norms is always that we expect mistakes and we respect mistakes, but we do have norms in place. And without them, honestly, I don't even know what would have happened in my classroom if I would have been able to teach without them, especially in a digital world. So get those norms in place from day one, repeat them regularly. I had a norm of the day or a norm of the week that we would focus on, and I would even have students call out those norms and say, like, okay, here's our focus, and here's which student was definitely showing X, Y, and Z norm today, and kind of just giving out some kudos. All right, I want to open this up and have you share your thoughts or questions. So if you have any thoughts or questions for me, we have about 5 minutes. My computer time is fast, so if you were able to see that on my computer, it's fast. I can't fix it. And so you can, I was going to share this with you, and what I would normally do is just share my slide deck with each of you, but it is on view only. If you have it open, I will change this so that you can actually edit for now, and you can add your questions into the bottom, or you can put it in the chat. I'm good with either way. But I want to hear your thoughts, your questions, which activities from today you want to take back into your classroom. Because although all of this was for an educator to learn from, you can take all of these activities and quickly make them for students. So you can either type your thoughts or questions in here on slide 10, or you can put them in the chat, or you can come off mute. I hear myself talk enough, so either way. Yeah, I can definitely add the link again. Here you go. And one fun thing too, and I tell my students this, if you prefer to type it out or use the talk to text feature, it's really nice in docs. In slides, it does put your text in the notes at the bottom, but it's just an insert. You can go to, oh, where did it go on me? No, it's, have I lost it? And when I said insert, I meant go to your tools, and you can use the voice type. So for our younger students, that's what they like to do, is they like to click on the voice and just click here and they speak their notes. So that's another option too. Yeah, thank you. So you liked all the activities for students or staff. And you can use them for higher level. There's really no reason you can't. I always taught elementary school. Now I'm an instructional coach in an elementary only district. So this is my world, is elementary, but you could take this to any grade and use it with staff as well. Oh, you know what? I posted that link. I'm so sorry. I posted it privately. There we go. Sorry if you didn't get that link before. I'm going to actually copy this comment and I'm going to put it right in here, just so we can all see. Any other questions or comments? I know it's a long day with a lot of sessions. After the session, I'm going to change this deck back to, in my share settings, I'm going to change it back to view only. I do the same thing with students. After we're done working together, I do change it back to view only, unless they're working independently later, but if it's a whole group thing, just so that way I don't have to worry about things being written or changed on here later. Oh, you are so welcome. A few of you are still writing your comments and notes, and I will come back to them. Just as a final few minutes, thank you all so much for joining. Feel free to email me anytime, becky@techwithbecky.com, or find me on Twitter. Follow me. I'd love to follow you back. I love learning from educators. I was saying at the beginning, I only follow other educators, but my Twitter handle is techwithbecky. Let's see. Yes, collaboration means exchanging ideas each student has, and you're still going. I don't want to throw off your thought, but yes. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, we have to respond. It's one of those, for me, I like this session to be collaborative so we can understand the difference, like really sit in a student's shoes, sit in a student's seat, I should say, and see what it's like to just work independently and then have to truly go back and read each other's responses and respond to them. We have to take it one more step. You have to have feedback always. I'm big on feedback, reflections and feedback. I have to do it regularly in my own career, just in my own personal life too, so. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining. I will stay on for a few more minutes and then I will be off. It's only 8:45 here for me, but I know for some of you it's much later. I don't think it's much earlier for anyone, but thank you all so much. All right, I'm going to stop recording, but I will, like I said, I will stay on.